Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about don't chase her to be attractive. So this is a dating advice video, okay? I guess it could also apply to exes as well, people that women that you're trying to re-attract. So basically, there was a study done, I'm pretty sure in 2011, by the Association for Psychological Science. And basically their claim was, from the studies that they'd done, was that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. So what does this mean, right? What does this mean for your feelings to be unclear? Now, this doesn't mean that you are mean. It doesn't mean that you're horrible to women to make it seem like that. It just means that you're not giving away how much you really like them. At least that's how I've interpreted that, okay? And I think it's very true, and it's something that I've personally seen in my own experiences when I used to be dating. It seemed like the women who I dated were more interested in me when I was more busy, couldn't reply to them as often as I would have liked to have done, and basically kept them a little bit at arm's length, and I never revealed my feelings to them. And I found this worked really well also with my wife when I met my wife. So this kind of thing also can work in lesbians and gay relationships as well. And I think it depends on the one who's more feminine. In my partnership with my wife, I'm the one that's more masculine. She's the one that's more feminine. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm a dude or anything like that. It just means I have a more masculine personality type. And she has a more feminine personality type. Okay. So when I met my wife, I, tried to keep chatting online to a minimum. When I first asked her out, I asked her out a day in advance, like 5 days in advance. I think we matched on Tinder on like a Monday, and we set up a date for the following Saturday. And in between that time, I didn't message her too much. I don't think I even messaged her at all. Right? So sometimes that can scare a lot of people, like, oh no, they just, she's going to forget about me if I don't message her every day. That's not true, okay? And then when we went on that first date, I waited after that date another 5 days without talking to her to ask her out again. And then I think in between those dates, there was like it was a bit more stretched out, so we couldn't see each other for 2 weeks. And again, during that time, I kept chatting to her to a minimum. And when we did make plans, and because she hadn't heard from me, she said, "Oh, are we still on for Saturday?" and things, asking me questions like that, which showed to me that she was reaching out to me and that she was, looking forward to our date, and she was hoping that things were still going on. Like, she was worried basically that we weren't meeting up, and that's why she wanted to confirm with me that everything was still on and everything was still okay, right? So that's kind of like how you play it at the beginning of the courtship, right? So that you can keep a woman that you like interested in you. It's not like you're mean to them or you're unkind. It just means that you act like you're busy even if you're not. So if she reaches out to you, you're always happy to hear from her. You're always going to be kind to her and be like, "Oh, it's great to hear from you. I can't wait to see you," if you've already arranged a date. Or if you haven't arranged a date and she reaches out to you, say, "Oh, wow, it's great to hear from you. I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you? We should get together again. When are you available?" That's how you play it like that. It doesn't mean that you're playing hard to get into, because I feel like when you, the notion of playing hard to get kind of has this connotation to it that you're going to be mean or you're going to be cold or or something like that, when in reality, the opposite should be true. It just means that you're a bit aloof. You're a bit of a mystery. Like, you're busy. You're not always going to respond immediately when she messages you. But when you do respond to her, you're always going to be kind and happy to hear from her. And it's also about as well, when you do get to that stage of, you start to really like her, you keep those feelings inside and you wait for her to make the first move and to say that she likes you. So it's always the best way to do that, because I sometimes feel like a lot of men and people like me especially as well, is that I fall in love really fast and my emotions are like instantly engaged. So I felt that when I met my wife. I went on a first date with her, and I was like, oh yeah, she's great. I'd love to be in a relationship with her. I'd love to get really close to her. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I really, 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 really like her. But I didn't say anything like that to her. I waited until I felt that she was also at the same level, right? And the way that you know if she's at the same level is that she's saying those things to you. So that's why you wait and you hold off a little bit, okay? So at the beginning of the courtship, do not tell a woman that you really, really like her, okay? She already knows that you're attracted to her because you're dating her, right? If you weren't asking to meet up with her, if you weren't showing up to those dates, that would show to her that that you didn't like her. The fact that you're asking her out, asking her when she's available to meet up, that shows to her that you're interested. You don't need to elaborate or anything like that. But again, it doesn't mean that you're unkind. It doesn't mean that you're cold to her. So just date her, take her to fun places, have a fun time, then ask her out again after 4 or 5 days. So when you go out on that first date with her, just go take her to her fun places, have a fun time, and then after the date, wait 4 or 5 days before asking her out again. Now, the reason I say that is because that's what's worked for me. Perhaps that won't work for you. Perhaps you'll meet a girl and she's instantly really, really into you or something like that. And perhaps she reaches out to you straight away. Or perhaps when you're on a date, she may say something like, oh, message me when you get home. Then, of course, you can do that, right? And maybe if she wants to keep the conversation going, you can ask her out again. So it depends as well if you're dealing with a woman that's very extroverted or introverted. So in my case, I was dealing with my wife when I met my wife. Even though she was really, really into me, she was also super, super shy. So she was very introverted. So if you're dealing with an extroverted woman, then she might be a little bit more aggressive, as in she may initiate more conversations with you right at the beginning. And she may even tell you that she's really, really into you and wants to see you again, which is great. Whereas if you're dealing with a woman that's really shy, you may have to give her time to get more comfortable around you, more comfortable for her to be herself. Because usually people that are shy are a little bit insecure, are not really ready to let their guard down so they can be themselves, because they're just not comfortable doing that with strangers when they're worried that the other person is going to think of them in a way that's not nice, that they're really worried about other people's opinions. That's a big tendency that shy people have, which is why they rein it in and they don't overly express their emotions, and and things are a little bit awkward basically because they need more time to warm up to you to feel comfortable, okay? Which is how the process that I went through with my wife. I decided that, okay, this girl is shy. I'm just going to be myself, because that's the best way that you can actually open up a shy woman, is if you're being silly and goofy, just being your fun self. That lets her guard down and lets her know that it's okay for her to be the same. Whereas if you get two shy people together, usually what will happen is it will just become very, very awkward and it's very jilted and things just don't flow. Whereas if a shy person gets together with someone who's a bit more extroverted or someone that's more confident, and the person that's more confident, is able to, let down their guard and is able to, be funny, goofy, just their normal selves, and they're not afraid to be themselves, that gives the shy person to do the same thing. And over time, it lets the shy person warm up to the one that is more confident, the one that is more extroverted, okay? So it may be a case of that, right? So you may meet a woman who's very extroverted. She may tell you that she likes you straight away, and then of course you can reciprocate, right? And say that you like her as well, and you continue dating and you end up in a relationship. Whereas if you're dealing with someone shy, it may take a few weeks, okay, for them to warm up to you and to feel comfortable around you, okay? Of course, there's also the women that are just not interested. So that may be something like, okay, so you go out on a date with her and then you ask her out again 4 or 5 days later and she ghosts you or she gives you a confusing answer. That's a woman that has lower interest, okay? So the best thing to do then when you are dating a woman that you really, really like is to wait for her to confess her feelings. Wait for her to say things like, I love you, or I really, really like you. And when she does, if you feel the same way, then you can reciprocate. Because the idea is that you don't want to make your feelings clear until her feelings become clear, right? And the way that you'll know that her feelings are clear is if she is actually saying things like, I love you, I want you to be my boyfriend or girlfriend, as the case may be. You know, and she's saying things like that, or like, I really, really like you, I really love being around you, I love seeing you, I want to see you more. You know, that is when you know that she is warming up to you. So the idea is then is to, when you have a date, ask her out 4 or 5 days later, okay, and to arrange another date, which may be another 3 or 4 days or 5 days in advance, and then you go on that date, and then you do the same thing, right? You ask her out again 4 or 5 days later for a date that is 4 or 5 days in the future, you see? So this could look like, okay, so you went out on a date on Monday, you asked her out again on Saturday, and you set up a date for that the next Thursday or something like that. That's how that would look like, okay? And you always ask, when are you free to hang out? And then you wait for her response to say, okay, I'm free Tuesday, I'm free Friday, I'm free Saturday, I'm free Sunday. And then you can find whichever of those days is best for you, and then you arrange a date, okay? And then what will happen is once she starts warming up to you, especially if you're dealing with a shy woman, she'll start reaching out to you more. And when she starts reaching out to you more, just as Corey Wayne would say, assume that she wants to see you, right? So when a woman reaches out to you, assume that it means that she wants to hang out with you, she misses you, and then arrange a date with her. Say, when are you available to hang out? And then you arrange the date, okay? And that's the process that I've used. That's the process that I've seen that has worked. And basically not to chit-chat too much online and things like that. Get to know each other in person. Because if you're just chit-chatting all the time online and you're just available 24/7 to chat all the time, it just shows that you can't live without her, that she's your life already because you're always trying to contact her. Just keep things to a minimum. And if you do have to message her, make sure it's something that's important, like you find out that the restaurant that you've booked at has cancelled, or perhaps they've shut down for refurbishment and you need to change the plans with her and say, oh, can we meet here instead? It should only be about rearranging things if you need to make rearrangements. Get to know each other in person. Now, if she gets butthurt over this, and if she starts questioning it and saying, how come we don't talk over Messenger? How come you don't text me enough? Right? Just say to her, I want, you know, I'm not, well, you may say something like, you know, I'm not a big fan of messaging, maybe something like that. The reason why I'm not a big fan of messaging is because I feel like sometimes there can be a lot of miscommunication. You may read something the wrong way, I may read something the wrong way, so I prefer to talk in person. I hope that's okay. And if she's not okay with it, then, you know, perhaps she's one of these people that are just obsessed with their phones, and maybe they're not the kind of person that you want to date, especially if she gets really upset about that. A normal person who has their head screwed on right won't care if you say something like, oh, I just don't want there to be any miscommunication, right? They shouldn't mind that. And you can also put it across like this, like, you know, when I meet up with you, you know, I want to be able to give you, you know, all of the details of my week. I don't want to tell you everything spread out during the week. I want to be able to tell you in person. And also, I'm really busy right now and I can't really talk to you and give you my full attention because I've got this to do, I've got that to do. You know, and if she's got her head screwed on right, she will understand that. She won't get mad at it, okay? So don't be too chatty or over message. Act busy, even if you're not, okay? So obviously it's best to actually be genuinely busy. Have some goals for yourself, you know, work on those goals. You might have career goals, you might have exercise goals. You know, create a busy life, a busy schedule for yourself so you actually are genuinely busy. But if you're not genuinely busy, then just pretend that you are. Just distract yourself with something, you know, or put your phone on mute. So it kind of, it prevents you from texting too much, okay? So another thing that can really help as well is to, you know, have ambition as well. Have things like that you really want to achieve in your life. Like I said just now, like have goals, right? Because that's going to make you appear really attractive anyway. Having ambition and having things that you're striving towards automatically makes you more attractive than other people that do not have goals. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.